We can see our analytics, inside the YouTube, and there's this page where it says your viewers also watched, and both of us is Spitfire, Spitfire, Spitfire,
right?
And then the other
each
person's
other.
name.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the Angels Flight Museum. I was just kicked off. It's private property. It makes me feel pretty good. A guy on Twitter said that I have the temperament of a grandmother. And I think I'm going to put that on the front page of my website. I thought about muting him, but instead I think that needs to be featured. And so for me to get kicked out of a place for filming, it's pretty awesome. She's coming back. Today is the first official day of the conference. I'm up early with my coffee. But yesterday was kind of an impromptu gathering. Every single year I try to talk myself out of coming to this conference. I don't know why. It's expensive. And I'm staying at the hotel, which I used to stay at like the cheapest, sketchiest of Airbnbs in LA. I was so nervous all the time. The extra $100 a night just puts me at ease, and I like this decision much better. And I talk to a lot of the people that I work with on Zoom, or we communicate, email, Twitter, but it's just not the same. And this is a business, like every single business, of relationships and the people that you know. And people need to know they trust you, and you realize, oh, I really hit it off with so-and-so, and I could probably work more with that person. This video is as much for me to watch next year when I'm thinking about whether or not I need to spend the money to come back to LA again. But there were really only 2 recording events that I got from that week that I want to share with you. And one I shared last week, my interview with Dan Wilson. I don't think as many of you understand how big a deal it is that I got to interview Dan Wilson. The songs that he has written, the people that he's been in the room with, and just the overall great human being that he is, and that he was willing to chat with me. It was a super highlight. So please go back and watch that video. But I also had the opportunity to meet and sit down with my new friend, Dave Kropf, who runs 52Q.
Yo, what's up, my man?
Many of you who watch my channel also watch his channel, so you're probably already familiar. But before I show you my interview with Dave, the idea of musical community came up when I pulled one of Dan's cards out of the deck, which you can see about that in the last video. And it was all about this idea of finding your musical community. With Dave, we talk about the online musical community we have, and also the need to have a in-person, like physical musical community. So for those of you that live in the Dallas area, I've decided that November 10th, I'm not exactly sure where, somewhere in like the Richardson, Plano-ish, probably Highway 75-ish, we're gonna get together and we're gonna talk. Composers, anybody who does music for media, who's been doing it forever or who wants to do it, come hang out and we'll find our musical community here in the DFW Metroplex. But let's go back in time and talk with Dave. Will you talk for me?
Hey, check one. What is happening, everybody? This is Dave Kropf, and this is not another episode of the 52Qs podcast. You do still have your badge on, just FYI.
I do have my badge on. I don't really know how to do this. I just talk to myself all the time.
I feel you.
I was recording when you were doing your little thing and you introduced yourself, so I might just go back and use that. We'll see.
Okay.
Or I'll use this. Hello, everyone. John Meyer.
Dave Kropf.
Dave Kropf.
Yeah.
Worlds collide here in LA.
Yeah, the gravitational forces have just brought us together, orbiting each other.
So we talked yesterday. We can see our analytics, inside the YouTube, and there's this page where it says your viewers also watched, and both of us is Spitfire, Spitfire, Spitfire,
right?
And then the other
each
person's
other.
name.
Yep.
Yeah. So makes sense that we would come together and chat. So how's your show going? Is that what we call this?
Yeah, conference, expo, whatever. It's going really well. It's my first time on the West Coast in nearly 20 years, and I forgot how gorgeous it is here.
It's beautiful.
And Morgan and the whole crew at PMA have done an amazing job here. And it's really good being able to see people in 3 dimensions that I've only seen through YouTube or through Zoom or whatever. And I appreciate you having me on. Man,
yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
I appreciate
so if I
that.
fanboy out a little bit.
That's crazy. I've been following what you're doing for a while, and so in case people don't know, explain what 52Qs is. I think it's fairly easy to understand, but
52Qs is a community of like-minded production music composers, and we only focus on production music. And the podcast channel and everything else kind of all feeds into that. And it's from a concept that Dan Graham talks about in his book.
I met Dan at this conference a few years ago.
Yeah, and he talks about focusing on just writing 1 cue per week. And that's that. You do that for a year, and you end up at the end of a year, 52 weeks, you end up with 52 cues. And so the community is all about supporting each other, education, posting weekly feedback threads, and we have also other things like live streams and one-on-one sessions, mastermind groups, virtual feedback, office hours. So the idea is it's not just kind of like static courses, which are great, don't get me wrong, but it's much more for people looking for mentoring and like-minded individuals.
And you obviously have a background in writing for production music libraries.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been writing, really focusing on production music for the last 8 years. I do a lot for sports broadcasting, so CBS Sports, and I do a lot for Discovery Channel, like reality. So it's like some of it is epic hip-hop and some of it is like percolating tension. And I do a lot of that.
Percolating tension, is that a key? Is it you tag that word?
I'm going to start. Okay. I like that word, percolating. But it's also what I teach at Full Sail University.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah.
One of the things that I want to talk about this week is my friend Dan Wilson, who I'm going to visit. Let me read this. I'll edit this awkward pause out where I find
you
the
edit
video.
Your videos?
I do edit. I heavily edit my videos.
I don't, man. I just
so jealous. So jealous of you all that could just turn the camera on and talk.
Oh my gosh, that comes from 20 years lecturing in a classroom.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I lectured in a classroom for about 5, but I still wish that I could have edited myself. Okay. He said, your musical community is everything. If you don't have one, you must find one. Make music with them, yes, but also show up for them, help them move house, have a beer with them, sing a song at their wedding. They'll be more important in your journey than any gatekeeper will ever be.
That is so true. And in fact, there are a handful of 52 Qs folks here that I'd only seen like through Zoom or whatever, and we've just been hanging around like family, man. It's been absolutely awesome.
If there has been, I evaluate whether or not I should be making these videos every single day.
Well, I'm going to stop you and say yes, please. But they are required viewing.
But you know how much time they take, and even though you've got your cool setup with a live stream and you're going at it and you're not doing a ton of editing, it's still a lot. But when I look at what I've gained from it in just the relationships alone, in kind of the virtual space, and I'm so grateful to have these people that will say such incredible things.
Yeah.
And through the channel, some people have connected, without me, and it's just such an overwhelming thing to think about.
Well, at the end of the day, the relationships are currency in the industry, and whether it's relationships with publishers, libraries, or each other, and even this, relationships between fellow YouTubers, and it really matters. And so, Zoom is amazing, and communities like 52 Qs are amazing, but also being able to connect in person and share the same airspace, I think, is vital.
And tell me again where you're from.
I live in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a physical musical community, or would you say most of it's kind of the virtual?
As far as like 52 Qs?
Yeah, or just people that you hang out with that could help you move your house.
Yeah, actually,
move house.
At Full Sail especially, we have a clatch of composers, and we get together, once every month or so, and we talk shop, talk plugins, talk life, and over drinks or something.
I think that's the biggest challenge and I love the virtual community, right? I love the people that I get to get on chats with Zoom, but I just sit in my studio most of the time. And the way the business for me works, I'm so jealous of some of these people. Like I have my friends Ken and Scott who are in Nashville, and they just have people coming over every day, and they're amazing musicians. I don't really have that, and I need, honestly, it would slow me down. It would cost more money, and I would make less music.
Right.
And it's finding that balance between, but it would make my life better.
Right.
And it would make me enjoy my life better. But that's a conscious decision that I have to make. So
it's why events like these are so vital.
Yeah.
So when they do come along, and you do have an opportunity to create like a coalescing force where all of these people from all over the world have a singular focus point, that you make an effort to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad I came. It's been so rewarding just hanging and creating the relationships, which can happen in a virtual space on Zoom or whatever, but it almost gets electrified in a real space.
Well, it doesn't seem like we've talked for very long, but in the world of YouTube, we've talked for a long
Yeah, this is an
time.
eternity. Yeah.
So we'll have to, find your finest words and cut all mine out for this. But any last thoughts on 52Qs, community, anything?
Man,
You shared most of it.
I would just say with 52Qs, if you're looking for a community of like-minded individuals from all over the world on all different parts of their paths towards production music, then check out 52Qs. It's free to join. Sure, there are other resources up there, but if you never just subscribe to any of those things and just come and receive, then I really want to see you there. And it's an amazing community. And we're also doing the Taxi Road Rally
Okay.
in a couple of weeks here, and so we're gonna have a bunch of 52Qs folks there. And I've even had 52Qs members, because in Orlando everybody kind of eventually makes their way to Disney.
Yeah.
And so we met him for breakfast and everything.
When is the 52Qs conference going
It
to
needs to happen. It needs
I'll
to
be
happen.
there. I'll bring my camera. All right, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Very cool.